You're watching WRGX First News at 4, your hometown in BC.
Good afternoon. I'm Maggie DeRosiers. Thanks for joining us for WRGX First News at 4. It's election day across Alabama. The polls opened at 7 this morning and they will be open until 7 this evening. Remember, safety measures are in place when you go to vote. There's hand sanitizer in place at locations. Cleaning efforts are underway throughout the day. Masks are not required but encouraged when going to the polls. WTVY political reporter Lydia Nussbaum is in Mobile at the Jeff Sessions campaign. Let's go to her now. Lydia, how is Jeff Sessions feeling today?
Well, Jeff Sessions said earlier today when he was at the polls that he believes it's a good day and that they're really going into this day with confidence. Now, he's really spending the day with his wife, his daughter, and his 4 granddaughters. They're doing about 6 radio interviews and trying to get his message out before the polls close. Now, Jeff Sessions really during this election is hoping that Alabamians look back and remember his 20-year track record as U.S. Senator, and he's banking on that to help him get his old job back. Now, this race sure has been an interesting one, especially since President Trump has weighed in, putting all of his support behind his opponent, Tommy Tuberville, and actively attacking Jeff Sessions. But even with those attacks, Jeff Sessions says at the end of the day, President Trump is not on the ballot today. He says Alabamians will be the ones deciding and choosing who is best suited for this job. Now, it appears that it's going to be a quiet evening, at least right now. This is the room where Jeff Sessions will be giving his speech later today once the results are in. Back to you.
Thanks, Lydia. We will check in with Ken Curtis, who is at the Tommy Tuberville watch party coming up at 5 p.m. Turning now to the District 2 congressional race, the race that the Wiregrass has been talking about for weeks. Both Barry Moore and Jeff Coleman are hard on the campaign trail today. We begin with the Moore campaign. WRGX's Kinsley Centers is live in Hartford, where Moore will hold his watch party this evening.
Maggie, I spoke with Barry Moore just after he cast his vote today, and he says he is feeling good and optimistic. Moore sent texts out to family and friends reminding them to vote last night and to encourage others to vote. He says last night and this morning he took part in a get out and vote effort and will be going out to sign waving crews this afternoon with his family to thank them and to encourage everyone to vote. Moore is hoping to take the seat currently held by Representative Martha Roby. Roby is not seeking re-election, paving the way for 7 candidates to qualify for the Republican primary. Moore ended up finishing second among the group. He hopes tonight he ends up on top.
Feeling pretty optimistic right now in the position we're in. We think we're in a great spot. It's a matter, the only poll that matters is today. You got to get your people out, but we have great grassroots, and so we have deep support. And I think that helps us in a situation where you got to get your people out when there's low turnout.
Let's check in with Aaron Wilson, who is at the Jeff Coleman party. Aaron, how's it going?
Hey, Kinsley, I have deja vu because flashback to 4 months ago, we were in the exact same position. Jeff Coleman is sticking to tradition, hosting his campaign watch party at the same place in hopes for the same results, a lead at the end of the night. After the March primary with 7 candidates, it's down to the final 2 men for Alabama's 2nd congressional district. The only difference between then and now is tonight we will have an official winner. The runoff, long overdue, originally set for March 31st, but due to coronavirus was pushed back. Coleman is a Dothan native and the CEO of Coleman Worldwide Moving, as he hopes to replace incumbent Martha Roby. But that all comes down to tonight and who the Republican voters cast their votes for.
Nothing like being at home. There's nothing like being in the Wiregrass in this great area. Of course, I love all parts of our district. I've met a lot of wonderful people up north in the river region and throughout this great district. But as I said, I'm from Dothan. I grew up here, graduate of Northview High School, and I'm just humbled and honored to be at home tonight. And hopefully, we're hopeful and prayerful that we'll be celebrating a big victory tonight.
Now, Maggie, we will continue to bring you live coverage from the runoff races tonight. Back to you.
Thanks, Aaron. Coleman cast his vote earlier this morning with his wife Tiffany at Dothan First Assembly of God. He will spend the majority of Election Day at his Dothan campaign headquarters. The runoff, long overdue, originally set for March 31st, but due to the coronavirus was pushed back. We asked him how he used these last few months to prepare for the big night.
For 11 and a half months now, we've been going out with a strong message on excellent quality jobs solve a lot of our problems in this country. We want to help our military and veterans. I want to do everything I can to help our great farmers. So our message resonating. I think the people hear that. I want to serve our great country, and I want to serve the people. This is the people's seat, and it's the people's house, and it's very important that they understand that and exercise their right to get out and vote. And I'm just humbled and honored to have the opportunity to be on this platform.
Well, Alabama is reporting 40 new deaths due to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. That's the most for a single day since the state began recording back in March. There were 1,673 cases added in the last 24 hours. The state now has 1,335 people hospitalized. Again, that's a new state record. Here in the Wiregrass, another day of significant increases in cases. Coffee County added 17 cases, Dale County 8 cases, Geneva County added 5 cases, Houston County added 17 cases, and Henry County added 4 cases. An update from the Alabama Department of Corrections: 2 more inmates died after testing positive for COVID-19. 57-year-old Barry Foy and 31-year-old Laveris Evans died over the weekend. Evans was in Easterlyn Correctional Facility, serving time for a robbery out of Jefferson County. He was transferred to a local hospital for additional care, but died Sunday. Foy was at Staten Correctional Facility since March. 10 inmates and 2 employees have died after contracting the virus. Across the country, coronavirus cases are rising and more people are ending up in the hospital. The summer surge is forcing some states to roll back their reopening plans, even as the Trump administration's testing czar claims the nation is turning the corner on the outbreak. Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
As coronavirus marches across the country, some states are taking big steps back. California once again shutting down bars, indoor dining, movie theaters, and more statewide. And in the biggest counties, places of worship, gyms, and hair and nail salons have to close too, right after reopening.
I spent my life savings for this, so I pray and I try to stay positive, but I'm not sure.
Schools in LA and San Diego will start the year online, while Florida is mandating in-person instruction. That state logging another 9,000 new cases today, even as testing labs struggle to keep up with demand. Now pressure is mounting on Florida's governor to consider a lockdown. He was heckled at a recent press conference.
You are misleading the public. Over 4,000 people have died. Shame on you.
The Trump administration's testing czar saying today he's concerned about increasing hospitalizations leading to more deaths, but claiming there are early signs of progress.
Even though we're turning the corner on the current outbreak, and it looks, all indications are that we have that, we won't see the benefit in hospitalizations and deaths for at least another couple weeks.
But many medical experts sharply disagree, with cases on the rise in 41 states.
He's letting Americans keep their guard down. He's enabling that when what he should be doing is saying, keep your guard up.
A surge in cases and a rollback in reopenings, unsettling reminders of the early days of the pandemic. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The nursing home industry warning today the spike in cases could have devastating effects in their communities. They're asking governors to speed up testing and provide more protective gear. The Dothan Salvation Army is hosting a blood drive this Friday. The event will be Friday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Salvation Army on South Bell Street. Walk-ins are welcome, but if you would also like to be tested for COVID-19 antibodies, you must make an appointment at redcrossblood.org. Coming up on First News at 4, Italy hits a milestone when it comes to coronavirus cases. Plus, scientists are looking at COVID-19 immunity and may have found some bad news. Stay with us. Welcome back. A hospital in northern Italy has discharged its last coronavirus patient. It marked the end of a horrific ordeal in a town that was among the world's COVID-19 hotspots 4 months ago. As Italy eases its lockdowns, the country's progress may offer a lesson for the U.S. states seeing surges of COVID-19. Matt Bradley reports.
This has been a week of celebration for the doctors and nurses and staff at the Papa Giovanni, the 23rd hospital, right outside of Bergamo, Italy, because last Wednesday, this hospital was declared free of the COVID virus. And this was really the most afflicted hospital in the most afflicted city in the entire world during the coronavirus epidemic. But this hospital now, all of the patients who had COVID have now tested negative for the disease. And it's an indicator of just how far Italy has come. When I spoke with the head doctor at Papa Giovanni the 23rd, he said they're not learning the lessons from Bergamo, Italy, or even from their own nations. And so he says that those countries, like in the United States, who aren't learning lessons from Italy, they would do well to understand that maintaining a firm lockdown for as long as possible until those numbers of new cases and deaths have really bottomed out in a convincing and long-term way, only then is it safe to lift the lockdown. That's the lesson we're hearing from them, and that's the lesson that a lot of Americans just don't seem to be hearing. Matt Bradley, NBC News, London.
A new study suggests that immunity to COVID-19 may only last a couple of months. British researchers studied a total of 96 people and all had tested positive for COVID-19. They found 60% had potent levels of antibodies after an average of 23 days after the first onset of symptoms. But that number dropped to almost 17% after 3 months. The scientists say the levels of antibodies were higher in those who had more severe disease. It is important to note that this study was a preprint and has not yet been peer-reviewed. Let's go to meteorologist Matt Breland now for a look at what he's covering in his full forecast. Matt?
Maggie, this heat is not going away anytime soon. We're still going to be dealing with some high heat index values, and we will still see the chances for some scattered showers and thunderstorms happen as we go throughout our day tomorrow. I have all the details on it coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Walmart is now accepting Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits for online grocery orders at stores in 39 states across the country. Walmart has pushed to make sure customers who pay for groceries with SNAP benefits have access to Walmart's pickup and delivery service. The pandemic has spurred this expansion. In states that do not offer online SNAP transactions, Walmart offers SNAP at Pickup. The program allows customers to place their grocery order online and use their SNAP benefit card at the time of pickup. The American College of Sports Medicine and the Anthem Foundation have done an analysis of fitness rankings for cities across the country. They looked at everything from community indicators like air quality, bike scores, and recreational facilities to personal health behaviors, including getting enough exercise and eating well. Sarah Daloff has the story.
For the third year in a row, one city is flexing its muscle as the fittest in the country, according to the American Fitness Index rankings.
Who is at the top yet again?
Arlington, Virginia.
What are they doing right?
Everything.
Dr. Nicole Keith points to the city's extensive parks and waterway systems, as well as excellent public transit and pedestrian safety. Boston is in the top 10 for the first time, and Buffalo, Toledo, and Anchorage all improved by at least 15 spots.
Somebody improves from one year to the next. It's not that they did something over a 12-month period. It's more likely that they've been building upon something for quite a while.
On the opposite end, Bakersfield, California, and Oklahoma City at 99 and 100. But across the board, the fitness index finds improvement. Residents in all 100 cities exercised more, smoked less, and had increased access to parks. Still, not enough people are meeting the recommended 150 minutes of aerobic exercise per week.
I don't want people to feel bad if they're increasing their physical activity, but they're not doing it at the level to meet the guidelines. Something is better than nothing, and we're progressing in that way.
The annual study is being released amid the coronavirus pandemic that's closed gyms in many areas and pushed more people outside. It's raising the importance of recreational spaces.
It builds your immunity. Physical activity is protective, and giving people the opportunity to be physically active where they live is of utmost importance during this time.
A renewed importance on fitness in cities and beyond. Sarah Daloff, NBC News.
Stay with us. Matt has a final look at your evening forecast when we come back. Welcome back. You have about 3 hours to cast your vote today. Remember, safety measures are in place when you go to vote. There's hand sanitizer in place at locations. Cleaning efforts are underway throughout the day, and masks are not required but encouraged when going to the polls. Thanks, Matt. I really hope people got to the polls before it started raining. And thank you for joining us for WRGX First News at 4. You're all caught up for now, and we'll see you back here at 5:30.